The Sennacherib Prism, 701 BC. In my third campaign, I marched against Hatti. Luli, king of Sidon, whom the terror-inspiring glamour of my lordship had overwhelmed, fled far overseas and perished. The awe-inspiring splendour of the weapon of Ashur, my lord, overwhelmed his strong cities, Great Sidon, Little Sidon, Bit Ziti, Zaribtu, Mahal Libah, Ushu, Akzib, Akko, all his fortress cities, walled and well provided with feed and water for his garrisons, and they bowed in submission to my feet. I installed Ethbaal upon the throne to be their king, and imposed upon him tribute due to me as his overlord, to be paid annually without interruption. As to all the kings of the Amaru Menahem, from Samsi Maruna, to Balu from Sidon, Abdiliti from Arvad, Urumilki from Byblos, Mitinti from Ashdod, Buduili from Beth Ammon, Camus and Abdi from Moab, and Ayaramu from Edom, they brought sumptuous gifts, and fourfold their heavy Tam-Artu presents to me, and kissed my feet. Sidkiah, however, king of Ashkelon, who did not bow to my yoke, I deported and sent to Assyria. His family gods, himself, his wife, his children, his brothers, all male descendants of his family, I set Sharuludari, son of Rukibtu, their former king, over the inhabitants of Ashkelon, and imposed upon him the payment of tribute, and of Katru, presents due to me, as overlord, and he now pulls the straps of my yoke. In continuation of my campaign, I besieged Beth Dagon, Joppa, Benai Barkah, Azuru, cities belonging to Sidkiah, who did not bow to my feet quickly enough. I conquered them, and carried their spoils away. The officials, the patricians, and the common people of Ekron, who had thrown Paddy, their king, into fetters, because he was loyal to his solemn oath by the god Ashur, and had handed him over to Hezekiah the Jew, and Hezekiah had held him in prison unlawfully, as if he be an enemy, had become afraid and called upon the kings of Egypt, and the bowmen and the chariots and the cavalry of the king of Ethiopia, an army beyond counting, and they actually had come to their assistance. In the plain of El-Teker, their battle lines were drawn up against me, and they sharpened their weapons. Upon a trust-inspiring oracle given by Ashur, my lord, I fought with them and inflicted a great defeat upon them. In the melee of battle, I personally captured alive the Egyptian charioteers, with the princes and the charioteers of the king of Ethiopia. I besieged El-Teker and Timnah, conquered them, and carried their spoils away. I assaulted Ekron, and killed the officials and the patricians who had committed the crime, and hung their bodies on poles surrounding the city. The common citizens who were guilty of minor crimes I considered prisoners of war. The rest of them, those who were not of crimes and misbehaviour, I released. I made Paddy, their king, come from Jerusalem, and set him up as their lord on the throne, imposing upon him the tribute due to me as overlord. As to Hezekiah the Jew, he did not submit to my yoke. I laid siege to 46 of his strong cities, walled forts, and to countless small villages in their vicinity, and conquered them by means of well-stamped earth ramps and battering rams brought near to the walls, combined with the attack by foot soldiers, using mines, breaches, as well as sapper work. I drove out of them 200,150 people, young and old, male and female, horses, mules, donkeys, camels, big and small, cattle, beyond counting, and considered them booty. Himself I made a prisoner in Jerusalem, his royal residence, like a bird in a cage. I surrounded him with earthwork in order to molest those who were in his city's gate. His towns which I had plundered I took away from his country and gave them over to Mitinti, king of Ashdod, Paddy, king of Ekron, and Silabel, king of Gaza. Thus I reduced his country, but I still increased the tribute and the Catru presents due to me as his overlord, which I imposed later upon him, beyond the former tribute, to be delivered annually. Hezekiah himself, whom the terror-inspiring splendour of my lordship had overwhelmed, and whose irregular and elite troops, which he had brought into Jerusalem, his royal residence, in order to strengthen it, had deserted him, did send me later to Nineveh, my lordly city, together with 30 talents of gold, 800 talents of silver, precious stones, antimony, large cuts of red stone, couches inlaid with ivory, Nimedu chairs inlaid with ivory, elephant hides, ebony wood, boxwood, and all kinds of valuable treasures, his own daughters, concubines, male and female musicians. In order to deliver the tribute to do obeisance as a slave, he sent his personal messenger,